Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR HaLacha. And here's a brand new HaLacha for you. It's for Tuesday, 13th day of November, 5th day of Kislev. Here we go. Today we're going to do the HaLacha about switching nusach. Let's just explain it, by example, and you'll see what I mean. You, let's say, always daven nusach Ashkenaz, the Ashkenaz way of davening, and you come into a shul that's davening nusach Sfard. You, of course, face the question of, should you follow your usual nusach, or should you follow the nusach of the shul that you're davening in? Some people get this question occasionally, because they generally daven in the shul that's Ashkenaz like them, and they just once in a while bump into a Sfard shul. And for some people, it's a daily occurrence. Their natural nusach is, let's say, Ashkenaz, but they're always stuck davening in a Sfard shul. The question is what to do. So switching nusach, you should just know, is problematic. If your family custom is to follow the way of Ashkenaz, is something it's beautiful to just stick with your family custom, and switching over is a bit of a problem. But on the other hand, for the kihila, for the congregation all together to be davening in one fashion is also very important. So we need to look into this topic and decide what do we do in all these types of situations. So it all goes back to a sentence in the Parsha of Re'eh, where God says, "Lo tisgodedu," "Lo tisgodedu," and our rabbis interpret that to mean, "Lo sasu agudos agudos." Don't make yourself into different groups of Jews. Jews should just stick together. Now, the Gemara discusses what that means exactly. Abaya says that it means that when you have two courts in one city, you should not have one court saying that, that this meat is not kosher, and another court saying that it is kosher. It looks like there's two different Torahs. That's the general way that it's interpreted according to the Amora, the Gemara rabbi Abaya. Rava, on the other hand, says you could have two courts in one area offering different halachas. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel did that all the time. They announced two different sizes for a sukkah. They announced different rules about who you're allowed to marry, etc. And that wouldn't be a problem. Rava says it's just a problem when one court has a split decision, so that people could say, well, I'll go with what that half of the court said, I'll go with what that half of the court said. So, and then another thing too, we're not going to come out with conclusions today. We're just starting off the topic, so sorry about that. There are earlier sources that talk about whether this should apply to customs also. There's a custom to do something, so do you need to stick with everybody else's custom around you? The Ramah says, for example, that all should keep Sfira at the same time, meaning if you have a city and, there's always the question of keeping the sadness during the first 33 days of the Omer or the last 33, the Ramah was of the opinion that the whole area should try to keep to one custom. So that shows you the custom, according to the Ramah's ruling there, that even on custom you're not supposed to veer apart. The Chai Adam said, it's going to shock you, but he was of the opinion that in one shul, everybody, when they do tachnun and lie down, put their head down on one arm, that it should be all left arms or all right arms, but not like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then there are a lot of rabbis who say, no, you don't apply it to customs because it was just meant to be on laws. But on customs, it's fine if some people follow this custom and some people follow that. So all I've given you today is that there's a massive discussion about whether it applies to custom, whether it applies to the same court, whether it applies to two courts in the same city, and we're going to get back to nusach, etc. in our following halacha. So you have to stay tuned and log on again tomorrow for more. Bye.